let's just settle into I've made that. Let's just wait 1 second. There we are. Let's just get settled into our meditation posture. And just go inside. It's probably a relief. If you've been busy all day long, this is just a good opportunity to basically go indoors, really. If our life is raining, you can just go inside. So check your posture, soles of the feet. If they're down on the ground, just check if all parts of the soles of the feet are in contact with the earth, except for maybe the arch. And just really feel the little toe pads, the soles, the big toe mound and the little toe mound. And then the knees over the ankles, sit bones sitting on top of the sit bones, shoulders aligned with the hips. You can have your hands wherever you like, wherever is just comfortable for you. Just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light and you're lengthening that spine. Putting some space in between the vertebrae. And then just tip the head very slightly forward, looking down along the length of the nose, if your eyes perhaps were open. Relax the jaw and then bring your attention to the crown of the head and release all the tension in the crown of the head. The forehead, the temples, the nose, the cheeks, the jaw, the back of the head, and then just all the way down the shoulders, the neck, belly, all the limbs. And then we just bring the mind back to the sensations of the breath. And that can be the sensation of the air moving in and out of the nostrils as you're inhaling and exhaling, or the rising and the falling of the belly, rising and falling of the chest. Just tune into your breath. If there are any sounds in your environment, you can just allow those sounds to be there. So trying not to follow them with your mind. And bring the mind back to the breath again. And then just notice the thoughts that are arising in the mind and maybe try and identify, rather than that just being a long, blurry mass of thoughts that are making you uncomfortable or happy or excited or this or that. Try and slow them down enough so you can identify, oh, well, it's more than just thinking. That's a happy thought. That's a relieved thought. That's a bit distressed there. And then you can put those thoughts on their little lotus cushions and just release them into space. Let them go. Like we're attached to our stories somehow. And let all the stories go. So now this mind, this river of mental moments, we imagine we're sitting on the bank of a river. We're watching that river flow on by. And just know that while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river. You're not in it. So bring to mind some people of your life, and you can bring to mind your loved ones to start with. Just bring them really into your view. Really notice them, their face, their eyes, their wrinkles, their smile, the love they have for you and vice versa, the joy that you have with each other, whether it be a parent or a friend, a spouse, a child. And then there's those friends that you have who you have a little aversion for. Notice them and notice that perhaps they too have feelings and they do actually have people who also love them. And then there's those people who are strangers to us. And these relationships can change place at any time, depends on our karma. So I think also they're all equal, as same as us in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering, and in having this extraordinary capacity for this enlightened mind. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for the benefit of all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So we think in this process that, you know, that we're kind of bad. We've done all this stuff. We want to hide from ourselves and others. So there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. And we create negativity with our mind. So we can change it by creating positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. Regret fits nicely into resolve at the end of the practice. Because without regret, you're not going to make a decision to make any kind of changes. So regret's good. It's not the same as guilt, by the way. So regret from the depths of your heart, anything you've done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering that we don't want it. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows. And because I do not want the future suffering, I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and think again, I am sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods we can use to purify. And we're not needing Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods. So you can imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is your teacher, if you have one, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light. And we're going to do Jada Rinpoche's prayer at the end. The blissful white light. So this image here we have here is a painting. And it just looks pretty two-dimensional. So you just imagine this floating in space above you, except you can flesh it out. It's a light body. Just imagine it sort of expanding and becoming three-dimensional, like a hologram above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. He's made of this radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And this, he has this beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long; they're shaped like lotus petals, and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is tied up in a top knot. It's black, and he has his arms are crossed at his heart. The left is underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents a union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of wisdom, infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And compassion, in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So just think particularly of someone that you may have harmed recently in the past, and then maybe in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think of people who may have harmed you. And particularly for these people, have compassion for them. This is a wish for them to be free from suffering. And so very often we just like, ha, 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 hope you get your whatever it is you deserve. So it's kind of not really the way to think. So when we do find ourselves thinking that way, we need to sort of turn it around into compassion, to remind ourselves to think, oh gosh, that might be quite hard for them. So have a bit of, I wish for you to be free from suffering. So think we must purify for their sake. And now we come to the power of the remedy. And this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification and visualization with a mantra. So imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around, enters your crown, and pours into your entire body and fills you completely. And it pours into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutokaya Mebawa Supokaya Mebawa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with the body. And so now is the purification of speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can just imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying and talking about other people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, inappropriate speech. You just imagine it all purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with the speech. So next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around, enters your crown, and fills your entire being. So just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on the switch, the light in the room instantly dispels the darkness. So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all the attachment and neediness and anger and violence and depression, anxiety, bitterness and grudges, is all instantly dispelled, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the cause of all of our suffering, it's really the only cause of our suffering is the way we think about things. And the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech. All of this is totally purified, and think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So now Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely, and it eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So now feel completely purified. There is not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now we come to this power of resolve. So we just decide that we don't want to harm with our body and our speech and our mind, that we'd like to refrain from harming. And so rejoice in the progress you're making, the effort you're making, the effort that you make to even just turn up here night after night. Some of you are tired, some of you are not very well. So some of you have some issues going on at home. So just rejoice in the effort that you're making to put this 30 minutes aside. And you could be doing something else like relaxing or whatever. And then think of what it is you're going to work on. Maybe it's some negative self-talk, or maybe it's just worrying about things unnecessarily. So I think Vajrasattva's delighted with us. And wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think my guru's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. So next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate in the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness, there is no I, creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level your mind understands emptiness, just place it there for a little while. We can think that all phenomena are empty. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think that perhaps the way things are appearing to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And so for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And from Jalo Rinpoche, patient in bearing the hardships of spreading the teachings of the Muni in general, and the teachings of the victorious Jamgon Tsongkhapa in hundreds of directions, Lord of Dharma, holding the three vows and wearing saffron robes, please quickly return as the glory of the peerless teachings. You held the teachings of explanation and practice with great asceticism, unable to bear that transmigratory beings are confused by the darkness of suffering. Through your great loving kindness, you skillfully led them to happiness. Unparalleled Son of the teachings, please return quickly, beautified by the ornament of supreme patience in increasing the practice of the supreme, authentic teachings of the victorious one through listening, reflection, and meditation. Guide all transmigratory beings along the perfect path. True and perfect pure Guru, please return quickly. And for Lama Ursel, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again, excuse me, into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please live long. Vigeshishera, beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path. You are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Okay, everybody. Much love. Take care, sleep well, and I'll see you tomorrow. And thank you very much for hosting and for guarding the door. And goodbye, Black Cat.